everybody, Max Rich here, and that is a jazz standard called All of Me. And All of Me is like a really, it's got a great melody and it's got really cool chord structure, or like chord progressions going on underneath it. The melody in itself, if you were to just listen to it, is pretty simplistic. You know, it's kind of predictable sounding, but what makes it really cool is how the chords fit underneath it. And you know, it's in the key of C major, but the second chord is E7, which is sort of like, well, where did that come from? You know, because E7 is definitely not in the key of C major. So today we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about the chord structure in and of itself, and how, especially in jazz music, you can include chords that are, you know, pretty far outside the key that you're in. You know, like I said, in this case we're in C major, but the second chord is E7, which has a G sharp in it. And, you know, if you add extensions on it, all of a sudden you get an F sharp, or you can get, you know, even a C sharp. And if any of this sounds like a foreign language, like you don't understand what I'm saying, I want you to stop right now. I want you to go back and check out some of the videos that we've done on major chords, minor chords, dominant chords, jazz chords. You know, I'm going to throw out terms like major 7, minor 7, you know, half diminished, something like this. You know, and if none of that makes any sense to you, then you got to kind of check out our lessons on some chord theory. It's not incredibly difficult stuff, but it is important to know if you're going to dive into jazz, because even though this is a relatively like simplistic jazz song, it still uses the language of jazz, you know. And so if you don't understand the language, you're not going to understand the lesson. But for those of you that do understand it and are sort of familiar, maybe you're not like totally fluent in it, that's fine. But you know what an E7 chord is, you know what a C6 chord is, this type of a thing. If you are that type of a player, then this is the lesson for you, because we're going to talk about the melody and the chord structure, and how a simplistic melody can all of a sudden sound really, really intricate and really cool based on the chord progression that goes on underneath it. A lot of times players think of, you know, they play some chords and then they're like, wow, how can I make some really cool intricate melody on top of it? When a lot of times in jazz, it's the opposite. It's a really simplistic melody with intense harmony going on underneath it, and that's where you get this sort of like really indulgent, very colorful sound coming from. So we're going to talk about that all in the context of All of Me, so by the end of it, you'll have the song, you'll be able to play it all on your own.